The chair now recognizes the gentlelady from Washington, Ms. Strickland.
Thank you, Chairman Rogers. I represent Joint Base Lewis McChord, home to over 40,000 active duty service members and their families. JBLM is the Department of Defense's most important installation for projecting power into the Indo-Pacific region, hosting the Army's 1st Corps and 1/3 of the Air Force's entire C-17 fleet. I want to start by recognizing the Army's 250th birthday. I am an Army brat myself. My father served in the military. He joined the Army when it was segregated, and he continued to serve when President Truman desegregated, something that probably would have been defined as woke back then. I could not be more proud of the soldiers who make up the Army what it is. And as part of the celebration, the Pentagon is going to host a day-long festival and parade estimated to cost up to $45 million. Department of Defense officials have described this as a generational recruiting tool and a plan to highlight every era and legendary leaders throughout Army history. So, Secretary Hegseth, do you plan to include displays of Colin Powell, our first Black chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff? Will you include displays about the Japanese-American 442nd Regimental Combat Team, one of the most decorated units of all time? Will you include displays about Major General Charles Calvin Rogers, whose Medal of Honor your department previously labeled as DEI? Recent articles by Stars and Stripes, Military Times, and others outline how your team has gone to great lengths to wipe out references of these American heroes. I'm incredibly concerned and actually disappointed that you will continue trying to tell an incomplete story about the Army's proud history, especially when you consider that 40% of those who are serving who are enlisted represent minority communities. So I'm going to ask you, sir, will you be able to talk about these things and will they be included? And then I have another question after that. Go ahead.
Well, Congresswoman, I do not accept your insinuation that we would seek to disclude any race or group of people in representing 250 years of incredible service of the United States Army, including your father's, which I thank him for. We're proud that we're going to put on full display the Army's military might 250 years on, which is a demonstration of American freedom, power, and commitment.
And I agree. Are these three people that I mentioned going to be included in this celebration?
This is a parade demonstrating military might, capabilities through the years, including to today.
Yes, and there will be exhibits. So will these folks be included, sir?
Well, I think you'll be heartened to know that the Secretary of Defense is not involved in choosing individual exhibits in the celebration, but our team has put in a great deal of effort to make sure the Army's history is well represented. And I'll say this, as a part of the reason I'm sitting right here and I put on the uniform is a parade that went through my parents' hometown in Wanamingo, Minnesota. Blink and you miss it, nothing farm town.
Absolutely. Now, I'm talking about the exhibition, sir.
It made me
I'm talking
proud
about the exhibition. Are you going to include Colin Powell, the Japanese-American 442nd, or Major General Charles Calvin Rogers? That's my question.
I'm sure we will include a cross-section of a lot of incredible Americans and possibly all of them, too. I have no idea.
So you have no idea, or I'm going to take that as a no. All right, next question. Let's talk about Ukraine and Russia. So we know that Russia started this war. They have long been an adversary of the United States. And at the same time, you heard the president make some really interesting comments, not including Russia in the widespread random tariffs. So I think one question I will ask you as we talk about wanting peace, because we all agree that's a desired outcome, do you and the president support surrender to Russia by Ukraine as your definition of peace?
Ma'am, no one has talked about surrender. We're talking about a negotiated peace.
So does that mean that you're okay with Russia keeping this territory that they're trying to take so they can march on to one of our NATO allies?
Ma'am, I think the situation is unfortunate, unleashed by the previous administration. But everyone that talks about winning and prevailing has yet to present to me a plan that's going to push the Russian army out of those territories.
So, sir, I appreciate you talking about the previous administration often, but we are now in this administration. So as the person who serves at the pleasure of the U.S. president, do you believe that Russia is a true adversary, and is your definition of peace going to be surrender of Ukraine from this invasion?
Ma'am, I've never said surrender, and we're prepared to negotiate what we hope will be a lasting peace.
Thank you. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back.